Yeah. No, we can make it casual. I don't have a, yeah, I mean, I won't definitely take a lot of time on the presentation. So if you like to jump in and ask questions, it probably might be easier. So, so thank you everyone. Appreciate it. As Chris said, Michael Room from C2, also part of the design and development team for this project. Kind of think for everyone that knows is the proposed site was a 2-acre site located at the corner of Airport and Tyra Road. So it's just right next to the ice rink. So just give you an idea. Route 50 is up along here. So the proposed project essentially is a one-story building, brand new construction, 24,000 square feet with 77 parking spaces. The breakdown of that 24,000 square feet essentially is town hall was 7,200 square feet. The courts were 3,000 square feet. The police was 12,120 square feet. And then we had some common space that was shared amongst all three tenants of about 1,800 square feet. The concept for this building, as I said, one-story building was going to be steel and masonry with metal stud. The exterior, as I move forward, I'll show you, was brick, stone, aluminum windows, and some rain screen systems. So again, this was conceptually the plan. This was going to be the point of entry into the town hall area. The police station had its separate entrance, was up here at the top right. This back area here, this was the secured fence and also the sally port for the police as well. Parking, as I mentioned, was about 77 spaces around the perimeter. So let me go back. Route 50 is here. So you're kind of seeing the side view of where the town hall aspect would be. Correct. Yep. The front yard is to the corner. So if you were coming off of Airport this way, you're going to kind of see that. And I'll show you in a second that rendering here of what it looks like, which would be really this view of this facade here. Does that make sense? Okay. So this is just a large floor plan. We went through and we did programming for the town hall. for the police and for the courts. The programming was based on where you are today, but also allowed for expansion and growth for all three tenants. The blue represents police, the green is court, the yellow is town hall, and then the orange represents the common space. As I mentioned, coming into the town hall would be at this main lobby here. The police station is on this top right, up has its own vestibule and entry and stuff. So there was no communication through the police or the town hall except through the courtroom on this concept, which was through this corridor through here, and then these doors through here. So we kind of created a secured area between those two entities. Mhm. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this is kind of a light schematic design phase. It was enough for us to understand your program requirements, and then also obviously a big part of it was developing cost, which we worked with BBL on, that would do the construction for the proposed facility. I'm just going. These are the elevations, which I'm just going to really kind of jump real quick to the renderings because I think this will really give you a better understanding of everything. So this is the view as if you're coming off of Airport Road, right past Superpowers. As I mentioned, this is the entry for the town hall. To the far right, that was the entrance for the police station. So really, if you look at the exterior, a lot of nice uses of brick and stone at the bottom. Over here at the town hall, we're introducing at the exterior just kind of some wood glue lambs, just to kind of soften it a little bit and make it feel a little bit of a resimercial feel to it, not so corporate. This is just closer up at that entry, again, which would be to the town hall, but also the courts at night. Yep, he's early there. So this one is kind of to your question. This is what you're going to see a little bit more if you're kind of slow and coming across Route 50 or coming down from where my office is. So you're just kind of seeing the backside of the town hall area. So this really is kind of facing my property. Again, as we come to this side, kind of a rain screen material, and then some EFIS on the backside, which was there for cost. This is the enlarged area of the police station. Again, separate entrance. We still have the masonry. The masonry continues all the way to the back side, which is where the Sally Port is in the parking garage. Or I'm sorry, the garage, not the parking. So that was kind of it, just kind of really emphasizing the overall site, the program, and the exterior renderings for the project. So if you have any specific questions, I can definitely answer it. We put a lot of time into that, so I'm sure I missed something that I can answer for you. Yeah, so I mean, again, the way what we looked at this, we would be willing to do a lease option, which we can kind of. We were flexible on a lot of this stuff. It was a lease option that could be 2.5s, or we could look at a build to suit, which essentially we would, it would be a purchase at the end of construction. Either way, there's some things that we would have to work out just to make sure everything is I guess within the guidelines that we need to do versus a lease and a purchase. But we're willing to look at both options. That is what you guys really prefer. I don't know if we had a set number for the purchase, Chris. I can't remember, to be honest with you. I didn't look at that before I left. The lease, and that's kind of what we presented. And I think the lease, what we had in there was triple net. But we would absolutely look at if we want to do a purchase, as opposed to a lease. I think the other thing too, noting with the lease, is that we had language in there that you would have the option at specific times to purchase the building at that point. So if you wanted to do a lease, and potentially at year 5, the town wanted to purchase it, then that would also be an option as well. So yeah, I think it was about that because I think it was 20, was it 24 triple net for IT. Correct. Yep. Yeah. So the vision for here essentially is to do retail and some apartments. Our concept was to remove this building in its entirety and to construct a new building in its place, which really is going to be of retail. I think it works well. It's a little bit off of Route 50, but a lot of Glenville is kind of in different directions, so I think it works well to do retail along that area. We looked at the possibility of having apartments on top of the retail aspect, and then on the adjacent property, which is on the opposite side of the library, that's where we were going to do townhomes. We were proposing on that parcel of land. So that was kind of part of this whole project where we would take ownership of this property. We put that money towards this property, but then we also took the 200,000, as Chris said, that can be utilized for tenant improvement costs. And that's something that we could talk about too, as far as the fit up of the interior as that goes, if that becomes part of the lease or if it becomes part of the purchase and stuff. So overall, we were kind of looking at this as there's going to be options and trying to be flexible. Yeah, that was based on the original submission time. So the construction time that BVL indicated was 8 to 10 months. Yeah. Correct. Once you're out of here, we look to take the building down. We did get costs. We talked with Jackson Demo on what's involved taking this down. But as we're building, we go through the planning process, to get the approvals and everything, and move forward with this project. So, but really, this would be retail with potential apartments on the second floor, um, and then townhomes on the other parcel. That's currently there's a house there now, but mostly vacant. So. Mhm. Correct. We did a little due diligence on that, and at this point, it's going to remain closed. It could be a potential write out. I think definitely wayfinding is going to be important, some type of a signage. A lot of people don't know really you can enter into this area by the social plaza there. I think they get a little confused sometimes. So there's a light there, so there's a control, to get in and cross over and stuff. So I think with wayfinding, whether it's at the social plaza entrance or down by the firehouse, really would help. Not just this project, the buildings that are there, and you know, we're doing an expansion actually for the ice rink, so you're gonna have a lot more people there. A lot of those people are really from out of town, so you got to kind of understand that they're coming there, not understanding the area or how to get in and out. So I think it's one of the things I've talked to them about is it's going to be important to have wayfinding to understand how to get in and out of there. Otherwise, they're essentially coming down to my property and trying to come back around. So, but There is. There was an attempt made to do some of it. It really, quite honestly, could have been a lot better as far as the visibility of it and the materials of how it was done. But um, there are areas, whether it's at the corner of 50 or as you're in the park, to kind of tell you what direction to go that we want to look at. Yeah, I agree. Yep, I agree because as you come into the Social Plaza one, you got to know to take a right at that area. All right, so that's another area where you're going to want to have that wayfinding. So I think there's a couple locations. It's not specifically on Route 50. It's definitely those two locations, but there probably are two or three that are inbound. Yeah. That's a good question. I don't know. I can definitely provide that to Chris and let you know. It's back quite a bit from 50. I mean, visually you can see it. If I go back to the aerial, um, but again, this area here is another pad site that's scheduled for another proposed project. So keep in mind when this is all said and done, there'll be three buildings along this area here. It's back, yeah, because I think mine's about, I would guess about 300. So then you got another pipe too. So you're probably around 500 to 600. No, that actually you have to come down a little bit, and it kind of banks left, right, and then it takes a left. You're actually going back. That's the longer direction, and then that goes back behind the pool place, and then you got to take that left. I think that we had was a 20 actually. It was two tens. Is that Chris? But there was mechanisms built in to do a purchase at different times. It was two. It was a full 20. Yep. I think we had it in there. But again, that was what we submitted when we did the proposal, and you know, it's something that we can revisit and discuss. Um, it was the trip. Well, it was the rent was 27 triple net, right? Yeah. The construction costs. I apologize. It's been a little bit. I did not look at that today. I think it was close to 200 square foot. Yeah, I think. Yep. And again, it's constantly fluctuating. These numbers were prepared months ago. Yeah, and if in theory, if we were going to, hey, we're going to move forward with this today, we would have to, look at all that because we anticipated carrying it up through the construction, but it all needs to be revisited because this would now go into winter and stuff. So yeah, yeah, it's still. Yep, we're still dealing with cost, lead time issues. So it's just something that you got to really kind of understand what you're trying to achieve, really be thoughtful of the materials. But at the same time, especially what this is a project that needs to be there for a long time. It needs to be able to support itself, life cycle, maintenance, and all that type of stuff. So there comes a point where you can't water it down, right? Because you get to a point where then, okay, maybe you've met your cost, but then you got so much maintenance and things that are occurring. And those are the things that we want to try to mitigate. I think that's just really providing a good building that can support the needs of the town for a long time. The building is 24,000 square feet. Yep. So we had a little bit that would be potentially for the police station, or at some point we did talk about for storage, which could be positioned back in this area, which could come off the building here, or it could be a separate structure that kind of comes off this secure area. But that really would be the area that you could expand to. Everything else would be pretty much developed, whether it's building or parking. I will note that with this design, we had two entrances, one off of Tower and one off of Airport Road too. So, yep, this one. Yep. So again, the blue is the police, green is courts, yellow is town hall, and then the orange was the common space. That's essentially shared by courts and town hall. Police really have all of their own services as far as the toilets, the locker rooms, the sally port, all their individual offices, detective areas. So, but as Chris said, this is conceptual. There was a lot of things that was discussed. There was some program things that we could look at that potentially looked at maybe reducing about 2,000 square feet. But again, that's one of the things where we're reducing 2,000 square feet, which means we're taking some program out. That helps reduce cost, but we're kind of taking that growth potentially down the road away. And does that make sense? So we kind of really started looking at a little different options and what makes sense. Thank you. Yep. Yep. Got a strong presence, solid materials. I think you look at the floor planning efficiency. There's a lot of opportunity for open space, so there's some flexibility there. But then everything's kind of grouped, so we really try to minimize corridor spaces because that can get pretty high as far as percentage towards a building. You get to 30, 35%. So we try to really minimize a lot of that stuff. Yeah. No, like I said, this is kind of a light schematic design. I mean, you got a heavy lift in your DD, design development, and through construction documents. But oh, absolutely, we would meet. And then also too in our proposal, we really kind of qualified what is going to be put into this, as far as some of the some of the components, some of the materials and stuff, to give a sense of beyond a floor plan what would be the final product. So that was also submitted within that proposal. Hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. If you need to open it up and use like the courtroom kind of thing and you have access to it, but then, still leaving them a secure area so they don't get into the town hall area, have access to restrooms. That was kind of some of the thoughts here that can be utilized with this concept. So, but, still a lot of development, things to figure out. But this is kind of just what our pitch was. There's flexibility as far as the design, the lease structure, the purchase, and cost. So, I think they're kind of there. What we're seeing is some things are spiking, but then some things are leveling out. Um, I think if BBL were to revisit their numbers, I don't see a huge difference, but there would probably be some increase in some areas. Exactly. Nope. There's so many variables, and we had some assumptions built into this too, but there's a deeper dive that needs to be done, obviously. Yeah. It, it's a process, you know. W- Yeah, I think signage is important regardless. We've been there; it's going to be 4 years for us. It's been easier. You kind of as time goes on, people kind of figure it out. But at the same time, you still get people that kind of get a little kind of lost. But I think a big part of that is because we just don't have the correct wayfinding right now to do that. I think if we did that from day one, it would be a little more fluid 4 years into it. And I think that's just not just me. It's probably Bruno and other people in that loop there are probably experiencing the same thing. So, yep, 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 absolutely. That's slated for an office warehouse as well. So, yep. So it'll be beneficial across the board for the whole thing. So, yeah. Well, this land right was part of the county. I purchased it, so technically it wasn't on tax roll, right? Because it was with the county. So this property here. So in theory, there's a couple of years we've been paying tax on, but this opportunity will now be on the tax roll. So correct. Yep. Yes. And then as well as the adjacent one that's mostly just land right now, be townhomes and stuff, which would be nice in the community. We got a lot of apartments and stuff, so home ownership is kind of a nice element to have. So something to think about. Yep. Yeah. Correct. No, and the code is different nowadays. So, and because you're dealing with the police department, you have to be able to maintain a certain criteria that's built into New York State code, and that is tough to achieve in an existing building that you renovated. Not saying that you can't, but it usually comes at a cost. So, mhm, mhm. Great. No, appreciate it. Yeah. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out. But excited to see what happens, regardless if it's our site or everyone's. So it's important for the community and for the people that live here. So good. Thank you. Yeah. No, I enjoy it.